So I'm reading this blog the other night, and it's one of my favorite blogs to read by an author that I adore. It's a holyexperience.com, and it's Ann Voskamp. And I'm sitting there soaking up her words, and she's telling this story about a little girl who walks a mile to school every day, each way a mile. And the little girl doesn't complain about the walk because in her country, opportunities to get an education don't come very often. And so she's glad to have this walk just to get to go to school. And she's walking home one day and she's attacked. And she's raped. And later finds out that she's pregnant. And her family member that she's living with doesn't know what to do, doesn't know how to respond to this situation. So they send her away into the big city by herself. And an organization rescues her. And when they find her, she has had her baby. And the baby's 3 days old. And the little girl has a wet rag and she's dripping water into the baby's mouth to keep the baby alive because she didn't even know that her own body produced life for the baby. And it breaks my heart. And so I say a prayer for this little girl and the organization that rescued her. But then I go to bed. And the next morning I wake up and it's Saturday, and in our house Saturdays are sleeping in and snuggling up and waffles and bacon for everyone. But then I'm a crazy person because I just start crying at breakfast. And I start telling my husband this story of this girl and how my heart hurts for her. And my daughter looks at me and she says, "But Mom, it's not a big deal." And that's funny because we've been working with her on when to cry because things are actually a big deal and when to let things go because they're not a big deal. So I dry my tears for her, but my heart is thumping and beating, and I'm thinking, "But baby girl, this is a big deal, and this is the biggest deal." And so I go through my day with that heavy on my heart, and then I sit down to do a new study, read a new book, and it's called Restless Because You Were Made for More. And on the very first page, the foreword, I kid you not, is a little piece written by Ann Voskamp, the same author of that blog. So I'm going to read a little bit of her words to you because it's too good not to share. So now is your story, and you and your story matter beyond time. Now is your space on stage. Now is your time, and now you are here for such a time as this. You will not pass by this way again. There is only one now. Eternity is worth the risk. Now is not the time to be demure with the gifts you've been given. Share them lavishly. And so I read that and it strikes a chord. And I go to my husband and I say, "I'm done. I am done eating waffles and sitting at the breakfast table enjoying my coffee on Saturday morning. I'm done. I have to go. I have to help." And so he tells me, "Okay, where are you going to go? What are you going to do?" So I do some research, and it turns out that the church I used to attend in Charlotte, North Carolina, Mecklenburg Community Church, has an opportunity this summer to go to Argentina. They're sending a team down there to an orphanage. And I don't know much about the country, but what I have learned is that about 1,900 children are born in that country each year, and half of them are born into poverty. And so they're on subways barefoot begging for money and not knowing where their next meal is going to come from. But what's even sadder is that most of the orphanages have closed because they just don't have enough money to stay open. And the orphanage that MEC is sending a team to is actually being kept open by the church's donations. And so they're sending this team, and that's where the exciting news comes in because I'm going to go. And I tell my husband, "I'm going to go." And he's very supportive and loving, but understandably so. He's cautious. And we went through a lot this last year medically, and quite honestly, wiped out our savings just paying for my medical bills. And so he understandably is questioning how we're going to do this. We just got back on our feet. How are we going to send you for 10 days to Argentina, even though this is your passion? And so that's where my big ask comes in. I need you to partner with me in prayer that God will provide for this trip, that God will help this team to be safe and to accomplish things for His glory. but I also need your help in partnering financially. The $2,200 that it's going to take for this trip is going to cover a flight and meals and lodging and transportation. And there's a link below this video that you'll see where you can click and you can donate online, and it goes straight into the church, and you just select the trip Argentina and my name, Allison Bonzo, and it's tax deductible. And I would greatly appreciate all of your prayers and any cent that you can give. I am praying over every last dollar that comes in, that it'll be used, that it'll help me take my love to these children, but not just my love, but His love. So thank you, and just know that you won't pass by this way again. And now is your time to